Episode 10 Abundant Wealth Solutions.
Welcome to Chain of Wealth. Here's your host, Dennis, inspiring you to begin your journey of financial freedom.
Hey Chainers, and welcome to another edition of Chain of Wealth. Today my guest is Mary Wheeler. She is a master coach at Abundant Wealth Solutions. When I read her story, it reminded me very much of Katie's student debt story and so many others that we see here at Chain of Wealth. Mary went to Mississippi State University where she majored in psychology with a minor in marketing, and upon graduating she had $27,000 worth of student loan debt. With this new debt, Mary decided to go back to school and earn the financial coaching designation, and today is super passionate about helping others dig their way out of their student loan debt, the second highest contributor to the national debt crisis. Mary, thanks for being on the show and sharing your story with us.
No problem, Dennis. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So let's talk about you a little bit. Tell us a bit about your personal life.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Mississippi, so I'm just a simple girl. You know, I recently moved to Houston about 4 years ago, so I just enjoy the simple things in life, like spending time with family. Recently taken up a new hobby of painting, so I'm teaching myself how to paint. And, I just enjoy hanging out with friends.
Fantastic. So if you could go back to those blissful college days, what would you have done differently?
Well, I would have done a lot of things differently, primarily when it comes to the method that I used to pay for college, which was through student loans. You know, one thing I would have done prior to going to college was to, A, apply for more scholarships, and B, I would actually attend community college first.
Right. And there are so many scholarships and different programs out there that people just aren't aware of. Like, it's a case of just doing a bit of research and actually seeing what's available there.
Exactly. And, there's this misconception about scholarships that you have to be maybe LeBron James or Bill Gates. So you don't have to be the most athletic. You don't have to be the smartest person because there are scholarships based off religious preferences, military services, community services, and even major base. So, people just have to give it a little bit more time and do a little bit more research because there are tons of opportunities out there.
Fantastic. So speaking about your student loans, how were you able to pay yours back?
Well, first, simply I got fed up. I was paying my minimum payments every month and my balance wasn't moving at all.
Right.
And this was like 9 years after I graduated. I mean, it was still $27,000 and I was like, okay, Mary, it's time to do something different. So I created a plan to pay my student loans off. So I started working overtime at work. I mean, I was working day and night to generate extra income and just started attacking that debt. And, I saw it going down, and I was just paying more every dollar that I got. So I paid it all off. So originally I started the plan to be 2 years, but, I got so aggressive with it, I ended up paying off that debt in 96 days.
Wow. That's amazing. It must have really been quite the side hustle.
Yeah, definitely. I was fed up with Sally Mae, so I had to get rid of her.
Yeah. I think so many people are fed up with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So if someone's looking to go into college and get a bit of an education for themselves, what advice would you give to someone that's going to school for the first time?
Yeah, I would say, number one, look at your options. Definitely consider community college because it doesn't matter where you start going to school. When you graduate, your degree only says where you graduated from.
Right.
And also the importance of, cash flowing your student loan. So your college education. So working while you're in college, considering those options as well. And if you're a parent out there and, you have a smaller child, definitely do some research about the 529 plans and what you can do to better prepare your child for the future to reduce their cost of student loans. So even if you decided to go to college and you had to take out student loans, if you were working, maybe instead of taking out $10,000, maybe you only had to take out $3,000 or something to that effect.
Right. Fantastic. So are there different types of student loans out there?
Yeah, so there's definitely a ton of student loans out there. Mainly, they're broken down into federal and private loans. You have loans like the Federal Perkins loan, which is a lower interest rate loan, usually around 5%. And then you have Parent Plus loans, and these are, if you're a parent, you're taking out loans on behalf of your child. So, I mean, there's just tons of different loans out there. Usually the federal loans have lower interest rates, and they have income-driven payment plans, whereas on private loans, the interest rate are upwards of 18%, and they're not as flexible when it comes to repayment options.
It's definitely not cheap if you manage to get one of those more high interest rate loans.
Yeah, absolutely. It adds up.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Abundant Wealth Solutions. What services do you guys provide and how much do they typically cost?
Yeah, so at Abundant Wealth Solutions, we offer one-on-one coaching sessions. So, and they're $125 an hour. And essentially what I do is assess your current financial situation. So, we look at where you are and where you want to be, create a plan to definitely overcome that student loan debt. We go over goal setting, budgeting, and the importance of having an accountability partner. We review all these things to set you up for financial success.
Awesome. So, Mary, I'm sure that in your time being a financial coach, you must have seen a huge amount of people make some crazy mistakes. What would you say is one of the most common mistakes that people make with their money?
The most common thing I've seen, and I've been guilty of this in the past, is not knowing where my money went.
Right.
So just doing that subconscious spending, buying the Starbucks here, you're doing restaurants and doing things like that. And you're not taking into account for every dollar that you're spending, what's coming in versus what's going out. And then if you make that little small adjustment and put yourself on a budget and, you count every dollar, you'll give yourself a raise just by keeping up with your money.
Makes so much sense. So talking about people that are a bit younger, people that are up to their late 20s or early 30s, what should they be doing with their money today?
Yeah, so primarily they should definitely be, number one, using their money to get out of debt. Two is investing for the future, in order to change their family's legacy. David Bakke has a book, The Automatic Millionaire, and that book is filled with tons of good best practices and how to set yourself up for success. And, the younger you are, the quicker it is to hit those financial goals. So I would say at least, build up to 20%. Maybe you start out at maybe 5%, and every 3 months or so, you're increasing that percentage on your investment portfolio. But definitely making a conscious effort to hit that 20% marker so you can pay yourself and change your family's legacy in the end.
I know you're located in Texas, but do you only offer services to people within Texas, or do you service people in other places as well?
Yeah, I service individuals nationwide, and it's not just limited to Houston. So, we connect via Skype, via FaceTime, or via phone and have those conversations and coaching sessions virtually.
Fantastic. Chainers, we're just going to take a quick break and say thank you to our sponsors, and then we're going to dive right back into the Value Link round. Chainers, are you looking for an amazing gift for the holidays? Head over to chainofwealth.com/gifts. There, Katie has written an amazing guide of some awesome gadgets that you can buy your loved ones for the holiday and really spoil them. That's chainofwealth.com/gifts. And jumping right back into our Value Link round. So, Mary, why do you think people fail at achieving their dreams?
The main reason I think people fail at achieving their dreams is the inability to take action. A lot of times we're inspired by hearing someone else's story, or even by listening to this podcast. The listener, you might be inspired right now, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't go create a plan and take action on that plan. Taking action is the key to reaching your goals and attaining your dreams.
That's so true. So do you have any books or other podcasts that you'd recommend that our listeners could maybe read or listen to?
Yes. One of my favorite books is No Excuses by Brian Tracy. And that book, I really like that book because it sets you up on how to build self-discipline. So maybe you're that individual, you need to figure out some of the groundwork and the foundation of getting that goal process started. So that's one of the reasons why I like No Excuses. Another book that I like is The Go-Giver. And that book, I really like that book because a lot of times, even in today's world, we get caught up in what's in it for us and what can people do for us. But, it's really something special about, finding the value and being able to give to others, whether that's in time, money, or whether that's in experiences or through testimonials. So I really, really like that book. So definitely check out those two books. Now, as far as podcasts, I like to listen to the Gary Vee Show. He has some great tips about being an entrepreneur, or as well as starting out, and what it takes to be committed to your goals and sacrifice and things like that. And the other podcast that I recommend is How I Built This with Guy Raz, and that's just a podcast about how companies were built. So it has a lot of different great episodes about organizations that started from nothing and they've turned into well-known industries.
Fantastic. Mary, as a financial coach, you've probably given people tons of advice, but what is some of the best advice someone's ever given you?
The best advice I've received is don't forget to take care of yourself mentally and emotionally. A lot of times, it's easy to go and work out your body and, be physically fit, but being able to stay conscious and protecting your environment and finding value in meditation so that you can be able to be your best self.
Awesome. Fantastic. So what is your favorite word or quote?
My favorite quote is actually driven around change. And basically it says something to the effect of do more of some things, do less of some things, start doing something that you've never done before, and stop doing certain things altogether. So in order to drive change, you definitely have to look at all four of those elements in order to get change started. So
Mary, how can our listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Abundant Wealth Solutions. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Abundant Wealth Solutions. And I'm also on Twitter. You can find me at AbundantWS.
Mary, we've absolutely loved hanging out with you today. Do you maybe have any parting piece of guidance that you can give to our listeners? And then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah. So if you're out there listening to this podcast, my challenge to you would be to definitely take action, especially if you have student loan debt out there. There is a way out, no matter if you owe $20,000 to hundreds of thousands. So definitely make a plan to take action. Reach out to me directly. And thank you guys so much, Dennis, for having me on.
Thanks for being on this show. Chainers, make sure you check out abundantwealthsolutions.com. Here you can read about Mary's story and have a read of some of the great blogs and programs that are on her page and find a solution that helps you and your budget. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We really appreciate it and it goes very far. Catch you on the flip side.